I'm not sure what's happening here. My screen looks funky. So I'm gonna reload. Give me a second. Now that word, it has a countdown and then the word "go" on the screen, and the word "go" usually disappears, but it didn't disappear. So again, all right. If you go back in history as to what Republicans did and conservatives did, they fought the $300 toilet seat. They made sure that the programs were doing what they were supposed to do. They fought fraud, waste, and abuse. They didn't scam the system so that they would get additional money and their cronies would get additional money while people were starving on the streets because they were not Christians in name only. So when they call you a rhino, call them a kino. Christian in name only. Because there's no Republican that's authorized to take away from the social safety net if you're actually a Christian. Right. So that when they call you Republicans in name only, call them Christians in name only. So again, because I go back through my mind, I'm like, when did we like have problems with people being taken care of? I don't ever remember that. I remember fighting the $200 hammer, the $500 toilet seat, and any misappropriation of the funding because that protects you. Again, you're supposed to. Christianity is supposed to give you some comfort where you have blinders on, where you don't see certain things and don't worry about certain things. And when you're a conservative, you're not supposed to do what's happening. Again, you can't save a child with a law. Now, if children are being saved, it's through the prayer part of it, but it's still a mess because it doesn't work. That's why Jesus came. Because the law doesn't work. Now, it can convict you of your sin, but there's so much other things in the scripture. Why do we go to that first? Again, it's like saying slothful. Well, they're slothful. Well, that's Old Testament. And the Jews themselves, in the Jewish faith, it had already changed before Jesus came. But they refused to see it. So, Rabbi Yeshua ben David, Jesus came, and he was trying to wake them up. And they killed him while he was waking them up. Sound familiar? And then, of course, Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Akiva had some words to say. Again, theoretically, Rabbi Akiva, maybe a century, somewhere, I think it was after Paul. So again, we have Rabbi Yeshua ben David. And again, these are kings of Israel, actually. So Rabbi Yeshua ben David was king. Saul of Tarsus, Paul was probably king, one of the next kings, if not the next king. And then you have Rabbi Akiva, king of Israel. You have Herod was not a king. Again, these were Roman lackeys. He was a king, but he was, part of the system that was, that Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Akiva had trouble with. And then, of course, Rabbi Eliezer, son of Shimon. So if you go back into the Old Testament, you're actually going back to the beginning of Judaism versus what Judaism became by the end of the Old Testament. Well, if you're calling somebody slothful, are you actually calling yourself slothful at that point? That's what the scriptures say, and you don't need the New Testament to see it. So, they have what's called the Amplified Bible. So what Jesus did is he created the Amplified Torah. And they killed him for it. Thank you, sir. So if you judge somebody slothful, then you judge yourself undeserving of salvation. Now, if you just do it, because you're mad or, something in passing. But I mean, these are $1 million movements. I mean, you invest millions and millions of dollars to get the world to believe that people don't deserve to be fed because they're slothful. And you build secret societies to harm people just so Elon Musk can have another, 1 billion or something. I mean, this is really where you're all going and the real reasoning for what you're all doing. And I just say Elon Musk because he presents himself for that. I mean, that's true. If you find people too slothful to feed, God will find you too slothful for salvation. That's what the scripture actually says. So again, you're supposed to put blinders on. But again, how can you put blinders on when you're obsessed with money? Half the reason you do your charity is so you can get the tax break, if not the full reason. Sometimes people do it to be a ruler. Like, I fed people. Right. So again, Saul of Tarsus, Rabbi Saul Benjamin of the Benjamin tribe, he tried to explain how charity works in the spiritual realm. It's not a physical. You could actually I'll amplify Saul of Tarsus, Paul a little bit further, Saul Benjamin a little bit further. You could actually not engage in any charity in your life, but want to, and God reads your heart and knew if you had money you would do it, and God will credit you for that charity you never got to, because you're striving for it. You're actually losing in life trying to get to it. Where somebody else may act, like Trump, I gave $100 to someone. That's like a half a penny to you, Trump. Not even a half a penny. So again, they address that in what's called the widow's mite. Not that you have to give everything. Again, it's a very difficult world today to be, because there's really no society, no community, no neighbor. I mean, sometimes. I mean, obviously, Larry. You go to church, you're hungry, Larry will feed you. If Larry was in the church. Or the temple, Hare Krishna, the Gurdwara, or you're downtown in Espanola, Larry will grab some food from the Sikh kitchen, heat it up, and bring it downtown for you. Or cook it on his own. I think Wednesdays I used to cook on my own or something like that every so often. It's very difficult. Again, a lot. If you got people that are like wanting money for drugs, and you give them food, they're not interested. But it's not everybody. Some people will really appreciate it because it made them feel like a regular person, right? Not that just here's food, conversation, respect, right? So again, you have to be very careful on how you carry yourselves. So if they call you a rhino, call them a kino. And they ask you what that is, a Christian in name only. Again, it's probably Trump anyway. Now all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God, so there's none good, no, not one. But yet, we do have to speak about what's actually going on and speak about it truthfully. Well, because I'm not going to be, if I recognize that and I don't say it, then I got to go to hell because I didn't tell you not to do that. That's actually what that's saying. Now, that's not why I do it. I do it because I love God and I love my neighbor. So, they're supposed to come and inspect the apartment. So I was kind of tidying up, and I'm wondering what time they're going to come. And I had asked the guy yesterday. He said, "Yeah, we'll be first thing. We'll do it first thing. We'll be in there first thing." It was like 9:00. So just right about 9:00, I'm thinking, what time are they going to get here? So the one guy, that's the maintenance guy here, he shows up in my head, and he says, "Well, we're not going to get there till after lunch." I'm like, "Okay, but you can't believe that. You know what I mean? Because who knows? Again, the gifts fail." But guess what? It's after lunch. I'm not gonna get here till after lunch. So it was real. That's why I said it to them. I said, "Let's see if that's real." I'm not gonna, I'm still gonna be prepared for them to get here right now, but yeah, they didn't get there till after lunch. I still haven't gotten there yet, but that was true. A lot of evil people. The world's definitely evil. They do good in furtherance of evil. That's actually going on. It has gone on for some time. There's actually charity mafias. Don't try to do charity because that's where they get their money from. Federal dollars or state dollars, whatever it is, private sector dollars. So this morning it comes up that there's, and I've seen before, they're trying to get me to go back to Santa Fe because, I was pretty quiet in Santa Fe and I just let them do their thing because I was much younger. I told them it wasn't going to last like that forever, right? Because they want their money for nothing and the kicks for free. They want to torture me, get paid for it, get their Weinstein bonuses, and have me not say anything, even though I said a little bit there. Right? So they figure they'll rule me if I get to Santa Fe. Now I'm not going back to Santa Fe because I have no desire to live there right now. But even if I did, I'd probably be even louder than I am here. So again, don't delude yourself, and don't let Satan delude you all. So I know I'll be here another year. I don't think I'll be in this apartment another year, till the end of the lease. God willing, all that good stuff. But God just said, God willing, I don't want you to be here. This place is junk. God lives in $1 million mansions. Remember that. God knows what they look like. Only because the planet represents something. Well, God has a desire for you. Think God wants people to be poor? Oh, yeah, because God made us all multimillionaires and billionaires because we're really good people and go to church. Bastardization of the scriptures. So again, there is no conservative, no Republican that I remember in history that attacked the social safety net. But today, this is supposedly the end thing. And yet they call everybody else a Republican in name only. And you have to call them Christian in name only. Remember to do that. Because that's really what it is. They're trying to put it on you because they're just money grubbers, man. They got $10 billion and they want $20 billion. Like there's some reason to do that at the cost of people. I mean, the government makes it easy. Yeah, you don't want them to, give it to people where they're buying drugs, but you just tighten up on the program then. I mean, the government makes it easy. There's no church in the world that's going to replace that government money going to people to take care of people. So any Christian that's saying that the social safety net shouldn't exist, they're Christian in name only. They want to call everybody Republican in name only. It's Christian in name only. I don't know a Republican in history that attacked the social safety net in the manner that I see these people attacking the social safety net, just so they can get more millions and more billions. I mean, they're crazy. They're money grubbers. They're what do they call that? I guess lustful for money. They're gluttons. They're gluttons. Gluttons for money. Well, if it bothers you, just put blinders on. Just put the Bible on your eyes or the Torah, and you'll say, okay, yeah, they can spend money to feed the poor people. That's okay. I'll let them do that. Oh, you're so gracious. And then they like go to war, and they spend what? And they don't even think about it. Nah, Trump still spends the money too. And again, Trump didn't really succeed much when it came to getting us out of wars. He actually screwed up Afghanistan. Now I'm wondering what kind of deal. I mean, his kid's got $9 billion. I don't know if it's related to it. Was that the payment for screwing up Afghanistan? So again, hopefully Trump goes off into the sunset and shuts his mouth so that we can get our country back to normalization and law and order. I don't personally have information, or I don't see personally that where Elon Musk has committed serious felonies outside of something that's like a corporate felony, which means that he wouldn't have to go to jail for it. But again, I don't know if he's been making deals on the side, some sort of organized crime racketeering thing. Because once the spies take people's minds, they do all sorts of crazy stuff. I know there's spies affecting his mind. I don't know what country, but they're definitely out there. Or it could be private sector, it could be government. But at this point, I think all he's committed is corporate felonies, which generally, like Brazil, you got to pay a big fine. So hopefully he doesn't feel like a kingpin. He does get into like fantasy mind a little bit. I think that's the nature of his age group, and especially his first, I guess, second wife. What number is that? What's her name? She was cursed to be forgotten. She stood up for Vivian that one day. It was with a G, I think. Can't remember her name. Well, I haven't thought or connected to her in a long time. Not since the Vivian thing. What's that woman's name? She is Greaves. Jeeves. I don't remember. All right, where's that woman? Grimes. That's it, Grimes. Yeah, Elon. Grimes rhymes with crimes. See? They don't commit no crimes, but they live a little bit of fancy stuff. Yeah, a lot of people. There are people that, and they try to put me in fantasy mind all the time. I mean, that's part of the spy operation, right? And it's very illegal to do that to people. But a lot of people commit crimes when they're committing the crimes are in a fantasy mind. Right? So Elon and Grimes, they're in that age group and that kind of world. I guess they're different ages, kind of, but almost where fantasy is big. Just kind of waiting for this thing to happen so I could just kind of go back to bed for an hour. I didn't sleep well last night. I drank so much coffee last night, kept me up. And then I just got up about 5:36, and that was it. I'm getting older now. I try not to push my body. I used to sleep, like 2-3 hours when I went to Hare Krishna's and go cook in the morning with them. Right. But that was. It was rewarding compared to like you can go in and you can do the service, but it was more rewarding to just get to work and clean dishes and cook and everything else. Just felt right. And I was around this, like I said, I was around this guy Kripa Sindhu that actually knew Prabhupada, of him when he was alive, and I guess he was in the New York Temple. I guess he was from New York. And he was in the New York Temple, and he'd let you know the truth, instead of what everybody, all the smoke everybody tries to blow about Prabhupada, what was important to him. So, I guess I don't take compliments well. I just don't really want them because I want everybody. I believe in equality more so, and that's relative to capability. You can even look at somebody. It could be a strapping young man with big muscles, and they're lucky to be able to walk down the street because they're cursed so hard. So again, what your effort is actually based upon metaphysics, not based upon the physical. So some people can't work because the other people that curse it, but they get all mad. See, the people that are mad at the social safety net are the ones that are cursing and psychologically operating people out of work because they're mad that their victims actually have food on the table. They don't become a prostitute or something like that. So a lot of angry people that are causing people not to work are very angry at the social safety net. So again, don't believe that that's Republican or anything like that to attack the social safety net, because it's not. It's just some shit that Trump came up with, that his people came up with. Because why? Because they're not happy with $1 billion. They want $1 billion and 500 million or something. Again, 30 pieces of silver. They're into that, like Judas. So they're Kinos. They're Christians in names only, or in name only.